how does storytelling help teams and individuals reframe what we may experience as fear into possibility?
Storytelling it activates many different parts of the brain. It activates the learning part, the hippocampus. It activates our prefrontal cortex, especially if that story has some nuance and innuendo. It activates part of the brain which is metaphor driven, because a lot of stories are around metaphors. It helps individuals take the story and adapt it for themselves. How the learning I get out of a story might be different to the learning you get out of a story. It's like seeing a painting. We all have different interpretations of that same thing. Right. So the story enables us to, if you like, map it to our own experience. It maps it to the experience we have and to the memories that we have and our own threat profile. For example, for me, I don't like hearing stories about medical procedures because it makes me shiver. But I don't like horror stories. But many people do. What I'd actually say to leaders is, yes, use story, use metaphor, but be careful of the type of story you're going to use.
But I think it becomes very individualistic in that case sometimes too. I'm not a fan of horror stories, but I've got a friend who is. I'm not sure why you'd be telling a horror story at work, but that's another question to ask yourself.
Many bosses are horror stories in and of themselves.
They are. This is true. You might be experiencing it versus being told the story. But who are you talking to? What is it that makes them tick or what appeals to them? And then adapting your story to fit within that context, I think, is a big part of it too, because then it becomes even more personalized in that setting and helps people to realize, okay, this makes sense. And I can take this part out of the story as I go about my own journey of learning how to use AI or whatever the change is that I'm about to go on.
And what I forgot to add is that when you've got a story, you have to reconfigure that story to your own end. So it doesn't trigger the I'm being told what to do syndrome, because I'm having to interpret it myself. And therefore, I've got some degree of control over that.